I wanted to take apart this Guardian Tactical Scout. I mean, really any Guardian Tactical. I just grabbed the Scout. I got a couple of them because they're known for being really smooth in action, and I've never looked inside. I wanted to see what they look like inside, and I figured I would fire up the camera and maybe we could do a comparison to the new generation of the Combat Troodon, because I'm curious to see if there's any similarities between how they're achieving kind of their smooth and delicious action that they have going on. So yeah, let's take a peek in here and see what we can find. There's a few things on the Guardian Tactical that I'm aware of that they do differently than other OTF companies. So some of those I'm aware of, but other ones I don't think I am. I have taken this Combat Troodon Gen 3 apart more than any other OTF ever. By doing these torque screws, they really created a monster with these. Ooh, you know what I should do before I continue on is make sure that I don't mix up my screws here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so these are the Combat Troodon. Isn't that something cool that I would do, is just mix up these screws, and then luckily they have a different amount of body screws. Okay, so actually got this one off track this time, so that's good. As always, hold on to that button when you take this lid off, cover, whatever you want to call it, so that you don't lose this spring right here. You don't want to do that. We will set this over here. How about we set it next to all the other Combat Troodon stuff, right? Doesn't that make sense? And then let's take a peek inside the Guardian Tacticals. Take that cover off. Let's take this off. Now I know I don't have to worry about the spring because the Guardian Tactical has these ball bearings in there instead of a spring. So that lets it kind of ride on these bearings. And then that rides on this steel channel, this insert in here, and that's what makes that switch so smooth. So the Microtech on the right here with just a spring, and then you got the ball bearings on the left. So that's pretty cool. This is another interesting thing here is the glass breaker balls right here are just in here loose. So there's nothing holding them in other than the other side of the cover here, which is kind of interesting. Makes it simple. You just got to make sure if you take these apart that you don't lose these, because these are perfect for flying away. So you can see, you can just take them out right there. I'm just going to preemptively do it so that I don't drop them when I'm messing around with this thing. So let's take out the carriage. Let's take out this carriage. Let's compare those two first. Pretty different, you know, different sizes. But one thing I'm surprised about, single spring here, single thin spring, which would explain why it's easy to actuate. Double spring seems to be about the same gauge, right? These springs are longer though, way longer, so you're going to get more force. It isn't a larger overall knife though. But I'm surprised at the finish machining. The Guardian Tactical is pretty rough. It has like just hard scale on there, whereas the Combat Troodon is nice and polished. You can see too, see how this is shouldered to grip that pin that goes through the blade, whereas this one is just flat. This is more like the old Microtechs. But yeah, I thought it would have a higher level of finishing in that Guardian Tactical with just how smooth it is. Another cool thing here is these locking gates are kind of teardrop shaped instead of the traditional Microtech, just rectangle, I guess you'd say, type thing. And in here, you've actually got coil springs that push these out. That's what wants to put force on these and move those out. Whereas on the, oops, sorry about the camera movement there. Whereas on the Guardian Tactical, it's a leaf spring, which is pretty cool. I think I prefer the leaf spring option. It just seems like a more, I don't know, robust kind of mechanism, and you're less likely to lose these. I could be wrong. And then that's interesting. So this will just come right out without having to do anything, you can see that block is screwed in. So the other side is responsible for catching this blade on the top of here and preventing it from coming out. On the Microtech, let me get this back in here. Maybe. What am I doing wrong here? Pushing the gate in. Do I have it in backwards? No. The joys of doing things on camera. I cannot get that back in. Oh, there we go. It was just hung up on something. This one, you cannot actually just pull the blade out without removing that pin because, let's see if we can do this here, because that pin catches on this same side. Drop that back in there. So just different. Kind of interesting how different companies will approach the same solution. There's things that I like about this Guardian Tactical. I think I prefer this teardrop shape, and I like the leaf springs in here. It does kind of limit the real estate you're working with, because as you can see, you're kind of dealing with more activity going on up here, but I don't think it causes any sort of issue. Both of these lock in the open and closed on the same side. This just has a square locking lug. This has a round locking lug. I don't know if one is maybe more robust than the other, because that one would just catch up on here as opposed to being a shoulder channel, so seems similar. And then overall similar action, right? They all kind of work the same in terms of how they open up those gates, but a little bit surprising how rough and scaled this looks. But I guess if it works, it works. You don't need to change it. Let's take a look at. So this glass breaker, you can see the ball is embedded in this piece. I like that more just from a maintenance standpoint, so you don't lose your bearings and you don't have to put them back in like that. It's kind of nice having them be a part of this. I could unscrew this side and completely take this part out if I wanted to do like a full disassembly. And you can also take this off of this carriage here. So this comes off. I don't know. Should I do it? I think, I don't know. I think we'll just leave it on there. I don't see any value in that, but you can remove this off of this carriage. It just snaps on, no big deal. So, all right, that's the comparison between the Guardian Tactical and the new Microtech Combat Troodon 3. Let me know down below. Do you like seeing these kind of videos? You guys keep kind of asking for comparisons and takedowns, and you seem to like it when I take things apart. So let me know. All right, guys, catch you later.